Hi witches, so today we are going to be talking all about candle magic, and this is one of my favorite things in witchcraft, so today's video is going to be kind of long, so buckle up, I hope you're ready. I've added some timestamps in the description, and like in case you want to skip around if I'm like talking about something you don't care about. And if you're a patron, you should see this like step-by-step process like typed up for all of you guys like in the patron feed, so I'm going to try to get all of this condensed and like a little like my guide to candle magic. Speaking of which, Patreon, if you are a $15 patron, I screwed up super royally, and I will be personally messaging you because I want to do a working for you specifically. I am so sorry, I messed up super bad. That is on me. I am chaos embodied right now. I'm just flying on like my hopes and dreams. So anyways, I will be messaging you guys personally and we'll talk it out. Okay, anyways, let's get into candle magic. Candle magic is one of my, like I said, my absolutely like my favorite avenues of spellcraft. I'm like such a candle nerd. I love it. I love candles. I don't know how to make candles, but I like watching people make candles. It's a problem. But anyways, it is, I love it so much because I can see it working like in real time. Like I love the physicality of watching a candle burn down, like knowing that your spellcraft is working. So if you're a beginner witch, I really recommend candle magic as an avenue from like, let's say making moon water into doing a full ritual. Like if you want to start your first spell, I really like candle spells. And we're going to walk through a lot of that today. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know, I'm not ready. Don't worry, work at your own pace, but here's a resource for when you're ready. Yeah. Now, firstly, there are like 1,000,001 different types of candles for you guys to use. So I'm going to go from like smallest to largest, and we're going to talk about each kind and like what they're good, like what the pros and cons of each kind of candle is. Okay, so the first one I think is like a fun like way to start off this list is number one is birthday candles. These are super great for like quick ritual work. They burn down really quickly and they're super affordable. Like you can go to a 99-cent store or possibly for even less at just like a regular grocery store. They're scentless, and like I said, you can find them like they come in a variety of colors. Like some of them come in like gold and silver, so if you're looking for the god and goddess energy. A lot of them are like kind of rainbow, or you can get them just white. Black, I guess, I don't know, is that hard to find? I don't know, probably at like a Party City or something like that, like a specific like party store. So if you're not completely open with your practice and want to kind of start candle magic, birthday candles are a really great way to do this. The next candle I wanted to talk about are tea lights, and these are great because they are small and they are accessible at most stores, like I said, grocery stores, craft stores, stuff like that. And there is little to no cleanup involved because like wax isn't going to drip everywhere. It's all contained within a little metal like tin, and these are a little bit harder to dress for me. So dressing is putting oil and herbs or other things onto a candle and then burning it, so it's like, you know, setting the intention of the candle. So tea lights are a little bit more difficult for me because you only really have like the top, but they have a decently long burn time and can be used in ritual work to like mark a circle out like on the floor, or as an like, you have to be really careful if you do that. A lot of people I've seen use like electrical tea lights, and it gives off a very neat effect, especially the ones that are just kind of like the orange like flickery flame. It has to be kind of lifelike for me because I still prefer like actual candlelight. But anyways, you can either use it that way, or these are great for offerings to deities, or for you know, a prayer for a friend or something like that. This is a chime candle. It's hopefully like hand for scale. I have tiny hands though, so I don't know but it's just a little candle. So generally speaking, these take like 1 hour to 2 hours to burn completely down, so it's for a longer working. A lot of metaphysical stores do have like the little descriptions of like what each color does or is good for. So they're easy to dress. They're my personal favorites. I really like chime candles. I don't think you can get enough of them, to be honest with you. The next candle on our list are votive candles, and these take longer to burn, but they can be good for like representing your deities on your altars, perhaps like lighting a candle, like a specific votive to your ancestors if that is something that you do. Just because like you can light them over and over and over, and they aren't going to burn down as quickly as a chime candle, a tea light, or a birthday candle because they're a little bit more hefty. So sometimes sometimes votives come in like little jars, which are cool because you can like reuse them. I also like using freestanding votives on the top of spell jars because there's like more wax that drips down. I don't like using chime candles as much for that because they do tend to tip over. Votives are a little bit wider like in circumference and can sit more easily on the top of the spell jar. The next candle is a taper candle, and when you think of tapers, think like candle at dinner for two, right? Tapers can be found pretty much everywhere, but the most common color is white. So I've not really seen too many places that have like every single color of tapers, but that's okay because white can be used in the place of pretty much every color, or well, not pretty much. It can be used in the place of any other colored candle. So it's super versatile. I use tapers mostly as like altered decor just to like create a witchy atmosphere because I'm just that kind of person. But it can be treated like any other candle. You can dress it and burn it in a ritual working if you so choose. So yes. And then finally, the last candle type that I wanted to talk about are pillar candles. Now, I would consider this a pillar candle. Some people call this a jar candle, but for today's video, pillars are, as I blow out the flame, are wider than votives. They're kind of like a cross between a taper and a votive. So like they could be like this far, this big around, this big around, whatever. That looked really gross. Sorry. But generally they are like a cross between a votive and a taper. They can come in jars or without, and scented candles literally can be found everywhere. So if, you know, they're more mundane, they're more accessible. If anyone asks you about it, you're like, it's just a candle, it's just a scented candle. So these kind of like blend in if you are not, you know, completely open with your practice. I use these, especially like this. Like I use these, like this I would consider a pillar candle. I use these for my deity candles, and they're very important to my practice. So, as you can see, lots of different types of candles. I use all of them within my, I don't use birthday candles as much as I should for like quick working. That's kind of just my new thing, I guess, is hoarding candles. I don't know, I just really love candle magic, guys. That's really what it is. But anyways, candles are really, really useful. Sorry, it is 800 degrees in here. Candles are really useful, and I mentioned a ton of like different like uses for each type of candle, like deity candles or, you know, quick spell work or spell jars, etc. So I'm gonna go back, like backtrack a little bit and recap on those. So deity candles, let's start with that. If you are like me and haven't found a deity statue that really like suits your craft, though I did just find one for Bass at a really cool witch shop that is like relatively near me, and it was right next to one of Anubis, and I was like, expensive. And I didn't really quite know, like, anyways, okay, they're cool, and I want them now. If you're like me and you haven't really found any statues that work for your practice, I recommend looking into deity candles. There are some small businesses that make them and like sell them on Etsy and stuff, but you can make your own. I just slapped a sticker on a pillar candle. Mine are pretty simple, but you can also add like herbs and crystals and whatever you would like. Some people have like glitter, some of them are different colored. It's all kind of up to you. The next thing I wanted to talk about is holidays and decor. So holidays are a great time to go on like a little shopping spree, you know, at your local witch shop, because candles, like in colors that correspond with the holiday, are great like decor that bring like the energy of the holiday to your altar. It doesn't have to necessarily just be for like holidays. You could also have candles that you use specifically during a full moon, or specifically during a new moon, or during a divination session, etc. Like you could have like specific candles for specific things. And I think that versatility is like really, really cool. And yeah, next thing I wanted to touch on are offerings and prayers. So if you are looking for an offering for your deity or maybe your ancestors, a candle is a really great solution. So by dedicating that candle to them and, you know, meditating or otherwise, you know, praying or talking with them, working with them while that candle flame is burning, it really, I feel like, makes that connection a little bit, like, it solidifies it for me, right? You can also dedicate like specific candles as offerings to the deities that you light while you're working with them as like a gift. It's like, hey, I am lighting this candle in your honor. And this can just be like something that you dress with herbs that are like associated with them, or whatever, whatever you want to do. But it's just an idea. It's just an idea. That's all I'm saying. The next thing that I kind of wanted to talk about is actually cleansing, which I know is kind of weird, but fire is a naturally cleansing element, kind of like water is, right? It burns away impurities or disease, can seal up wounds. While it does all of those things, you know, fire also can energetically cleanse your tools. So using the flame of a candle to cleanse your athames, pentacles, jewelry, what have you, specifically the flame of a black candle, which is a protective color, it can, like, using the light to proverbially cleanse your space of darkness. I think it's a great visual manifestation of cleansing, similar to the way smoke cleansing is, where you can see the smoke going through and like casting out negative energy. I see the same thing with lighting candles and letting light illuminate the room. So maybe that's just me, maybe that's just part of my practice, but whatever. The next magic I wanted to talk about is kind of a two-parter, and that is both creative and destructive magic. So fire creates light and warmth and heat, right? I guess that's warmth, but yes, it creates these things, and that is a great addition to any sort of manifestation spell. You know, you are creating a new reality out of your own will. I think that having a flame that is this kind of living, but not really like this, it works really well for manifestation for me, so that's what I'm saying. On the converse, also, destructive magic, fire can break bonds that have been forged outside of the magical space. I see candle magic used a lot as a way to break bonds between two people, specifically after a breakup or getting out of a toxic friendship, and this is usually like a cord-cutting candle spell. If you Google that phrase, you'll probably find like 1,000,001 TikToks about this. This is actually something, like, even though it's like really popular right now, this is actually like a legit thing that like I studied back like before the internet was, you know, like poppin', or at least that I knew about it. So anyways, a string is tied between two of the candles, and the candles are lit at the same time. As the candles burn down, the string representing the bond between the two people catches on fire, it disintegrates along with the bond. So it's like this kind of physical representation of a bond breaking, and you are destroying that bond through fire. So I like that. I think that's a really good image, especially, like I was saying, it kind of pulls your manifestation, your will, into the real world, if that makes any sense. The final method I wanted to talk about in terms of candle magic, which I've already probably mentioned 800 times, but that is marking boundaries. Something that I think Hollywood has perpetuated as a stereotype, but it's really cool. So I just love that concept of like a complete, like a circle made completely out of candles. In the modern era, like I said, electric candles are used, you know, because fire hazards, but I also I think that, you know, it's nice to have like a bunch of jar candles. There's something about it. Or like lanterns or something that I just really want to do. Okay, I know this has been a really long video, but I do want to touch on one last thing, and I want to walk you through designing your own candle spells. So now that I am back and I've gotten all my tools, let's just kind of start with step one. We're going to start at the beginning and proceed to the end. The first step is to set your intention and to think about this prior to, you know, ritual time. And my intention is to bring happiness to my life. So when I think of all of the associations of things with happiness, two things come to my mind: the color yellow and the herb chamomile. And I don't know why that is, other than the fact that those two are both really associated with happiness and joy. Chamomile is also kind of like a relaxing thing, so I want to use it for that reason. So the next thing, once I've established my intent, which is inviting happiness into my life, I choose my candle type and color. So I have been waving this around like an implement because I am a child, but I am going to be using a yellow chime candle. This is my favorite type of candle to use, like I was talking about. It's a good burn time, and it's good for, like, it's easy to dress. It's not going to burn for forever, and I think it's just going to serve this video really well. So yes, the next thing is my jar of chamomile. So I don't know if you guys can see that. This was like a chili paste jar for a while, and then I used it for witchcraft. But yes, I have all of my chamomile in here, and I'm going to pour it onto this plate in a second, so a plate is helpful. The next thing you're going to need is some sort of oil. I'm using olive oil because this is what I have in my house. you can use olive oil for yours too. Olive oil actually like is associated with like peace and like stuff like that. So I thought it was really funny. Plus the oil is yellow and I'm like, okay, great, even more happiness. But if you have a specific anointing oil, perhaps looking up, you know, a list of other herbs that are associated with happiness and getting essential oils that match that could work too. But if you have olive oil, it's okay, use olive oil. If you have vegetable oil, that is okay. Like, don't worry about it. You're just starting, fine, do it. You don't have to spend all this money on witchcraft. It's not that deep. There are people who would disagree with me, but whatever, it's fine. Live your life, right? Okay, anyways, I don't know why I'm getting defensive. I think I just have anxiety that someone's going to be like, you're a bad witch, and I'm just gonna have to be like, I'm sorry, I just like candles. Anyways, now that I'm having a severe mental breakdown, let's get into this candle spell. I'm actually gonna put the chamomile on the plate first. I have done this before, I swear to God, I promise. I'm just really tired. Next, I'm going to put oil on my candle and I'm going to rub the oil on in a top to bottom fashion to attract abundance. If I was trying to banish something or put an intention, like a wish or something out into the universe, I would go the other way. But if you're attracting something, traditionally speaking, you go top to bottom if you are attracting something. So next thing I'm going to do is just roll this in my herbs. Not a lot of the big ones are sticking, but enough of these smaller pieces are sticking. And then what I'm going to do is actually, I'm not going to waste these herbs. I'm going to like make a circle of them. And this is a really common technique amongst witches, but I don't know if you can see that, but there is a circle on my plate. And what I'm going to do is take my candle, put it in my candle holder, and try not to knock every single herb off. Cool. I usually do this over a table, guys, sorry. Okay. And there we go. Voila, one candle spell. So now that I've kind of cleaned up a little bit, I'm going to light this candle and show you guys what it looks like while it's burning. So excuse me while I do that. So as you can see, oil stain that I will be cleaning off of my altar. But this is what the candle spell looks like. All of my deities are here. Say hello, everybody. But I just wanted to zoom in a little bit. I did add 2 crystals. So that is golden quartz, that one. And that little guy over there is citrine. So I don't know, it's just really pretty. And here are the rest of the herbs charging this candle with my intent. So I'm gonna let this burn down and hopefully start feeling a little bit happier. Anyways, I hope that was like not too long of a video, and I hope that this like piqued your interest a little bit in candle magic. If you have any questions, always like seriously feel free to like ask them. And if you prefer to DM me, my DMs are always open on Instagram. I love talking about candle magic and stuff, so I would love to hear from everyone else. Yeah, so that's everything. I'll see you guys later. Bye.